So we've covered the quote and how to create a quote. The next item that we are going to review on this session is what's called the quote line editor screen. So if I'm on the quote, there's a button here labeled Edit Lines, which is an out of the box button here. So once you click on this Edit Lines button, it takes you to the quote line editor. So what exactly is the quote line editor? So just think of it as you have this record, which is the quote, but now you need to start adding some products to it. You may need to start adjusting the quantity of those products and also applying discounts. So this is the screen that you will actually do all of this work in. So the first thing you see is you see some buttons here at the very top. These are called custom actions. On the first button that you see here is add products. This is a button that will get used often. This is where sales reps will go and add their products to this quote line editor screen. So I'm just going to click on add products. Won't get into too many details regarding this particular screen, but I just want to add a product so that you can see some information on the quote line editor screen. So we've added the product here. And so you see at the very top the quote information section here. So these are some fields here, which is called quote header. These fields all sit on the quote header level. Below, this is your quote line field set. So these fields are actually on the quote line object. So basically what this means is if you have fields on the quote object that you want the sales reps to see on this quote line editor, you'll just pick a certain subset of these fields and have it display on the quote header. And then just for demonstration purposes, if I were to save this quote here, clicking on the right hand side, we're back at our quote. You can see, for example, the start date, which was on our quote header, it's on the quote object. If I go to the related tab, you see the quote line, and each product that you add to a quote, you will see a quote line record created for it. And so on this quote line object, if you click into it, you see the same information that we saw on the quote line editor screen, right? You see your product, you see your quantity, you see the price information is here as well. So if I go back to our quote, clicking on edit lines. All right, so now we're back on the quote line editor screen. So now looking at this quote line field set, you also see some additional icons on the right-hand side. So you see a star. This allows sales reps to save a particular product as their favorite. So what does that mean? So if they sell a product often, almost, and they don't want to have to search for that product, they don't want to have to configure the product. It may be a bundle where they need to add various child products to that bundle, and they know that they sell it often, they can simply save it here as a favorite. And we could just say bundle, give it a name, and click save. So what happens is if they were to click on this drop down, click on add favorites, you can see the name that I gave it as bundle. All they have to do is now select it and then click select, and it will get added to the quote line. Instead of having them have to go to the product, search for the product, configure the product, that's just an easy way for them to find a product that they sell often. So in this situation, I've added two of the same products. There's also an icon here where you can delete. You can just delete that line by clicking the trash can. You can also clone. So if they wanted to replicate a product that they've already added to this quote, they can clone it. So I'll just delete that. Another item I would like to point your attention to is on the right hand side of your screen. You'll see this arrow you can click into. You will start to see additional fields here. In CPQ, this is called the quote line drawer, right? So instead of having a ton of fields displayed across the top, it would get very difficult to have the sales reps continue to scroll and scroll and scroll. Salesforce came up with the functionality of allowing additional information to live within this drawer. So for each product that's added, it has its own drawer. So let's say I were to copy this line. As you can see, there's two options here for you to select the drawer, and you can select the drawer for this product. So all of these fields are specific to this particular quote line. So if they wanted to make any changes, maybe change the start date or change the subscription term, they can do it at the quote line level here. Next item on the quote line editor screen, pointing your attention to, are these buttons. These buttons come defaulted when you install the CPQ package. You can add additional buttons custom, and these buttons are called custom actions. So we have reviewed the add products button. You have your add the favorites if you like. You also have the capability of adding groups. So for example, if you had multiple products that you have added onto a quote and you wanted to group them and have their own subtotal, you can do that here by just clicking on adding a group, and then you can add products to that group. So since we already had products here, it grouped the products to group number 1. The main purpose of that is that if you've added this particular group here, you see this subtotal of just the products within that group. You can add another group, and you can click on products to add products within this group. So this is quote line grouping. So some situations where you might use this is, let's say you were doing a shipment and a shipment might be coming from a different warehouse, and you wanted to group the products within that particular group for that warehouse. You could do that, so it can show up separately because you may have 2 different shipments that's coming out. You can group it as such. So you can click on ungroup to remove the groups easily, and you can also delete the line. So if you wanted to select all of the quote lines, all of the products that you've added, you can click delete lines, and it deletes all of the lines all at once as opposed to individually. Let's go back and add another product here. So another item to pay attention to is the quick save button. Right now we've added products to the quote line editor, but nothing saved. If we were to exit out of this product would not be saved to this quote. So you do have to save it to the database, and there's 2 buttons that allow you to save to the database. One is quick save and one is save. If you click on quick save, it allows you to save it on in the database, but it keeps you on this screen. But if you click save, it will save it on the database and it'll redirect you to the quote object. So for example, if I click quick save, it's saving, and it allows the sales reps to maybe walk away, and then when they come back, they're still on this page and they can continue adding more products, but at least they've saved this particular product for now. But if they've added everything that they needed on the particular quote, then they can always click on save, and that redirects them back to the quote here. So going back to clicking on edit lines, let's delete this particular product and let's add another product. So I've added another product, and let's say the rep had started adding some items to this quote, and they don't want to save it. So the customer didn't want to go through with it. They can just cancel it and it won't get saved to the database. They'll just click cancel, and this octopus hot dogs, they'll just click cancel here, and the octopus hot dogs would not be shown. If I go to the related, octopus hot dogs are not there. Only the rice balls product is there that was previously saved to the database. Clicking on edit lines again. Let's say the sales rep has added some products and now they wanted to change the quantity to 6. You can see here, since the change was made in Salesforce CPQ, they do change the color to orange so that at least this was the change that was made. But this change is not saved into the database. You either have to click quick save or save. But before you do that, you want to just see how much this change will impact your total. So that's where you have this calculate button. You just want to calculate and see, well, I see that this has changed my total to $6. So now I'm okay with that. Now I want to save it to the database. I'll click on quick save to save it to the database. And so now it is currently saved. Just as a quick recap, we have reviewed the quote line editor. We've covered the quote header section of the quote line editor. We've covered the field set and also the drawer here, the quote line drawer, as well as the custom action buttons at the top of the screen. Session, we'll review how to make changes to these fields that are displayed on the quote header and also on the quote line field set.